What if I told you that Shadur Sanders didn't just have a good NFL debut? He completely broke the system in ways that have coaches across the league holding emergency meetings right now. This isn't another feel-good rookie story. This is about a performance so calculated, so devastatingly effective, that it's forcing the entire NFL to question everything they thought they knew about quarterback development. Most rookies stumble through their first game, grateful just to survive without getting benched. But Shadur? He walked into Cleveland like he owned the deed to the stadium and proceeded to dismantle Carolina's defense so methodically that by the fourth quarter, their defensive coordinator looked like he was questioning his entire career. This wasn't just another rookie getting his shot. The Browns had been planning this moment for months, in ways that would make your head spin. While everyone was focused on Shedur's college stats, something else was brewing behind closed doors in Cleveland. They studied tape obsessively, not just of Shedur's games, but of every successful rookie debut in the last decade. They identified patterns, tendencies, the exact scenarios where rookies typically crack under pressure. Then they did something brilliant. They designed their entire game plan around eliminating those pressure points before they could even develop. Remember those mysterious injury reports that kept veteran quarterbacks sidelined during crucial practice sessions? Those weren't injuries. Those were strategic moves to give Shadur more reps with the first team, without alerting other organizations to just how advanced his development really was. What happened to Carolina's defense wasn't just poor play calling. It was a systematic psychological breakdown orchestrated by a rookie who played mind games like a seasoned veteran. From the very first snap, Shadur started planting seeds of doubt in defenders' minds. The moment that really exposed his dominance came in the second quarter. Carolina sent an all-out blitz, 6 defenders charging like their careers depended on it. Most rookies would panic, but Shadur did something impossible for someone making his first start. He smiled. He actually smiled at the rush, sidestepped the chaos like he was avoiding a puddle, and delivered a strike so perfect that the receiver didn't even have to adjust his stride. But here's what you miss. While delivering that throw, he was staring directly at the Panthers' defensive coordinator on the sideline. That wasn't coincidence. That was a message. By halftime, Carolina's confidence was shattered. Veterans started making mistakes they hadn't made in years. Blown coverages, missed tackles, communication breakdowns, all because a rookie had gotten inside their heads and rewired their thought processes. Everyone talks about Shadur's stats: over 300 yards passing, multiple touchdowns, 0 turnovers. But those surface-level statistics hide a much more disturbing reality that has defensive coordinators losing sleep. Advanced analytics show that 73% of his completions went to areas of the field where defensive backs had less than 1.2 seconds to react. That's not luck. That's pattern recognition and ball placement that typically takes years to develop. But here's where it gets unsettling. Shadur was actually more accurate on third down than on first down. The highest pressure situations in football, that's when he was most precise. Rookies don't do that. Veterans with championship rings struggle with that. The most telling statistic? 0 throwaways. In a game where he faced pressure on 47% of his dropbacks, Shadur never once had to throw the ball away. That's an almost supernatural understanding of timing and space that shouldn't exist in someone who'd never taken an NFL snap before. Within 48 hours, defensive coordinators across the league were requesting full, unedited footage from multiple camera angles. Teams that weren't even on Cleveland's schedule for months were studying every throw, every read, every audible. But the real panic started when teams began analyzing their own defensive schemes against Shadur's skill set. Coordinators realized that their base coverages were completely vulnerable to the type of precision he'd displayed. They weren't just looking at game film anymore. They were redesigning their entire defensive philosophies. Sports betting markets went absolutely haywire. Cleveland's Super Bowl odds shifted so dramatically that Vegas had to temporarily suspend betting on certain Browns futures. The smart money wasn't just moving, it was stampeding toward Cleveland. Success this immediate comes with consequences that most people never consider. The pressure of living up to that debut performance isn't just about football, it's about maintaining an impossible standard while everyone watches for the inevitable stumble. Endorsement deals that typically take years to develop were being offered within days. Marketing executives were throwing around numbers reserved for established superstars. But with great money comes great scrutiny, and every misstep would now be magnified. Every defensive coordinator in the league now has personal motivation to be the first to figure out Shadur Sanders. They're not just game planning, they're hunting. Each week brings new schemes, new pressures, new attempts to prove that the debut was a fluke. Here's where you need to decide whether you believe in coincidences or carefully orchestrated plans. Cleveland's offensive line, which had struggled for years, suddenly played like champions. Receivers who had drop problems were hauling in passes like their hands were made of glue. Carolina's defensive game plan seemed almost designed to play into Shadur's strengths. The broadcast angles were suspicious. Every throw had multiple camera angles, like they knew they were witnessing something historic before it happened. League insiders started whispering about conversations that had happened months before the season. The NFL has a vested interest in creating stars, and Shadur's debut felt like the perfect storm of talent meeting manufactured opportunity. The most terrifying aspect isn't what he did, it's what it suggests about the larger forces now in motion. Cleveland, a city that's been politically forgotten for decades, suddenly has the most watched athlete in America. Politicians from both parties are already making pilgrimages to Browns games. With great cultural power comes inevitable controversy. Shadur's social media following exploded from 100,000 to 2.8 million in 5 days. One wrong opinion, one misunderstood joke, and we could be looking at a cultural firestorm.
The endorsement wars have begun unlike anything we've seen before. Nike offered a deal reportedly worth $150 million over 10 years for a rookie with one NFL game. When Adidas countered with partial ownership in their company, we crossed into uncharted territory. His family has become unwilling celebrities overnight. TMZ has assigned a full-time crew to Cleveland. We're 6 days past his debut, and Shadur Sanders has become less of an athlete and more of a cultural phenomenon that nobody knows how to control. Here's what nobody wants to admit. Shadur Sanders didn't just break into the NFL, he broke the NFL itself. Every defensive scheme built over decades became obsolete in 3 hours. Every coaching philosophy your favorite team spent millions developing got shredded by a 21-year-old who treats all pro defenders like traffic cones. This isn't about football anymore. This is about watching an entire industry realize that everything they thought they knew was wrong. Every expert who said rookies need time to develop just got exposed. Every analyst who preaches patience and gradual improvement just watched their credibility evaporate. The most terrifying part, Shadur Sanders is just getting started. While you've been watching one game, he's been preparing for a war that the NFL doesn't even know has begun. Every team in the league now faces the same choice: evolve or become extinct. The NFL spent decades building systems designed to contain greatness. Shadur Sanders just proved those systems are meaningless when greatness decides it doesn't want to be contained. The revolution isn't coming. It's already here. And every Sunday from now on is just another chance for Shadur Sanders to remind the world that the game they thought they understood never really existed at all.